Hi, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our ACCA Practice to Pass webinar on SBL for September 2022 attempt. This is Hassan Dosani. I hope you guys are doing well, and if you are able to see me clearly and hear me clearly and see my screen clearly, please type yes. Excellent, excellent. Let's wait for one more minute while people are joining in. In the meantime, please download the handout from the handout section. Yesterday's recording will be available on the YouTube, ACCA Pakistan's channel on YouTube, but I don't know whether it's updated yet or not. Saad, do you have any update? Is the yesterday's recording available now, Saad? Don't know. I hope it will be done today. Let's wait for a minute. Because today we will be starting from exam technique, so I really don't want students to miss out. Yes, Shazad, I will tell you, but towards the end of this session. Yes, I will share a study plan. All right, so let's start. In the meantime, guys, please open up the CBE platform, the question which we were doing yesterday. Okay. Then let me do a formal start. Hi everybody, so let's start now, and today is day number 2 of our webinar. So yesterday was the first day, and yesterday we started with why students they fail SBL, and then we spoke about various formats. We spoke about all the professional skills, and then we did one new technical article called responsible leadership, and after that we started our practice. We did the SBL specimen question number 2, SBL specimen paper number 2, right? It was called Railco, and we did question number 1A and B, which was talking about a agent principal relationship. It also talked about non-executive directors, and after that I think we did question number 2B, which was to discuss the internal control weaknesses identified from the minutes. So we did these 2 questions. So what's our plan for today? So again, today we will do 2 more questions from Railco, and I will cover the second new technical article which was published last month called Environmental Sustainability Issues. Today we will discuss the exam techniques, and in the last I will share a study plan for the last 10 days. Maybe मुझे tissue दे देना. So those of you who are joining us today for the first time, before we proceed, please note that this webinar is completely CBE based. Okay, so we will be using the ACCA's CBE platform to solve the questions. And if you want to do a proper preparation of SBL, if you want to cover most all the important topics of SBL, then today's SBL is not, today's webinar is not enough. After today's webinar, you must watch September 2021 webinar by Hassan Dosani, followed by December webinar by Hassan Dosani, and March webinar by Hassan Dosani. These are all like 10 to 15 hours webinar. So if you watch these three webinar along with this particular webinar, then you will be in a good position and you may stand a strong chance to pass the exam. All right. How to ask questions? There's one way to ask question. Just type your question in the question box. So you will see on your screen a small option called questions or question. Yeah, it says yeah, it says questions, right? So just type your question there, and after every couple of slides, I will pause and I will I will browse through all the questions. But please make sure that your questions are related to the slide, to the topic under discussion. I will not be able to answer any non-relevant question. For any non-relevant question, I can take towards the end of the session. Okay. Quick introduction of myself. Most of you know me, and I've covered this yesterday as well. Basically, I'm a fellow chartered accountant, and I am working as a CFO in insurance sector based in Dubai for last 12 years, and I've been teaching for last 20 years. And I just specialize in SBL, but most importantly, please note my personal WhatsApp number so that you can stay in touch with me. All right. And if I also manage global WhatsApp groups for SBL, there are several groups now, and if you are not part of any of the group, then please message on this number and you will be added. And also, the today's administrator will paste the link on the chat box. Even in I think in the handout section, there's a WhatsApp group link provided, so you can download that as well from the handout section. Is okay. Right. So today, let's start with exam techniques. So yesterday we spoke about professional marks, professional skills, and all the formats. And today is exam techniques. Exam technique is very, very important because especially for those students who score like 45, 46, 47, 48, when they score in mid 40s or late 40s, most likely they are struggling because they made a blunder in the exam technique. So exam techniques can make a difference between your passing and your failing. Very, very important. But please note that in tonight's session, because we have very limited time, I will not be going in a lot of detail on the exam techniques. I will just cover the basic ones. If you want to know in detail about the exam techniques, then I just request you to watch my detailed video on exam techniques through in my earlier webinar. The link is provided. This is the link on YouTube. Just click on this link, and from 5 minute and 15-second onwards, there's a section on exam techniques, right? So now, starting with the exam technique, what's the first thing you're supposed to do when you open the paper on your CBE platform? First thing is you open up the word response tool. Okay, there's a word response tool which we used yesterday. Open it up and then copy paste all the technical requirements on your word response tool on the CBE platform. So if you remember, I'll just show you. You see that these tasks are all scattered. They are not on one page. They are all, task 1 is on a separate screen, and then task 2 is on a separate screen, and task. So all the tasks are scattered. So it is not possible for, at least for me, to remember all the tasks. I don't know about you guys. You guys are much younger, much smarter than me. I can't remember all the requirements. So what I do is I just copy paste all the question, like all the technical requirement. This one I will, and then this one I will copy paste on the Word document. Can I show you how? Just to show you. For example, I will open up task 1. I will copy this, paste this. I will leave some lines. I will go to 1B, and it will not take a lot of time. And I will paste it. This, and this is 1A, and this is 1B. Then I will no, 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 no. Then I will close this. I will open task number 2, and I will control C, just the technical requirements, and enter, 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 enter. And then part B is this one. Done. This is 2A, and this is 2B. I will close the exhibit, and then I will open task 3. I will copy this. This is 3A, and this is, you see, just like I'm copying all the tasks. And then once I've copied all the tasks in one page, I will just go through the tasks. Okay, I will go through the task. For example, identify and explain the agency relationship. Right, that's important. Agency relationship. And then assess the role and benefit of non-executive directors. So role and benefit of non-executive directors. And they evaluate the implications of the findings of the passenger survey, findings of the passenger survey results. This is just, I know what are the topics or exhibits which I have to review the effectiveness of internal controls, effectiveness of internal controls. So here, when you paste all the tasks and if you identify the keywords, then you can, probably, look at, remember all the requirements, or if you, even if you don't remember all the requirements, they are in front of you at one glance. So when you are reading the scenario, you can refer to this thing. Okay. So that's the first step, that we copy paste all the requirements, and then just ignore this prepare skeleton of your answer. That's, we can do it when we start drafting. And then we copy paste relevant sentences from exhibit under respective question numbers. So then when we are reading the exhibits, we will just copy paste some important sentences, important facts and figures on my Word tool under the respective question number. So for example, if you recall yesterday, so we were looking for agency relationship. So I copy pasted some information under agency relationship question. Then we were looking for some information on non-executive directors. So I copy pasted the information on my Word tool. So this will make your drafting easy, right? So that's the first thing we do. Make a list of all the questions, and then you start reading and then copy pasting some important sentences, important stuff underneath the respective questions. Marjolin is saying, how about copy pasting all the tasks? No, please, it will become garbage. So if you copy paste the entire thing, it will really become garbage, because your word tool is actually your answer sheet. So you will get confused yourself if it is filled with so lengthy things. So just the purpose is very short question should be there. When we will start solving, we will go back and read the question again. The purpose of making the list is just now, right now, to keep all the requirements at one glance. If you copy everything, it will no more be at one glance. Time management, another very important thing. So it's a 4-hour paper. So ideally 1 hour is to be allocated to reading and planning, and the remaining 3 hours for drafting. Okay, this is the rule of thumb. This has been suggested by the examiner. Now, there are two possible situations here. If it is a lengthy case study, lengthy means that there are long exhibits which is taking time to read, then there is a risk that you might not be able to complete your reading within 60 minutes. So in that case, if your reading is incomplete, if the 60 minutes are up, you must stop. You must stop reading and move towards drafting, because there is no way you can exceed 60 minutes. The moment you exceed 60 minutes for reading and planning, you will get stuck in drafting, because your drafting time will start reducing, right? Another situation is that the case study is short. The exhibits are mostly 1:1 or less than a page. So sometimes you can finish reading in 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. In that case, if you have read it in 40, 45, 50 minutes, move to start your drafting. Take a head start. Okay, it's flexible. So if it's a short case study, then it's not a problem. You can, the moment you finish, you can start drafting. But if it's a long case study, you have to stop reading at 60 minutes, even though if 1 or 2 exhibits are still pending. Okay. Now, very important. What I suggest is that there are basically two types of exhibits, right? If you look at the exhibits, there are two types of exhibits. One is called 1:many exhibits, and the other one is called 1:1 exhibit. So a 1:1 exhibit is basically an exhibit which pertains to only one requirement. That is why it's called 1:1. That exhibit is very specific and is just and can just be used for one particular question. Whereas the 1:many exhibit is an exhibit which contains variety of information, multiple information, and you might need that exhibit for more than one question. That is why it's called 1:many. How can you guess? How can you judge which exhibits are 1:1 and which exhibits are 1:many? There is a very simple technique. So generally, exhibits which are board minutes usually are 1:many. Meeting transcripts, annual report, website, these are very typical 1:many exhibits. And more importantly, their size is bigger. They are more than one page. So if their size is, they are more than one page, because obviously they contain a variety of information. Usually they are lengthy exhibits. Okay, is that clear? And 1:1 exhibits are basically shorter exhibits. You can judge from the size and even from shorter, for example, less than a page. And even from the name, you can judge that if it's purely a financial exhibit or some newspaper article or very specific topic. So you can judge from that as well. But a size is also a good indicator, right? So what I'm suggesting here is, in your first 60 minutes in your reading time, you prioritize your exhibits. You first read one is to many exhibits. Forget about one is to one. And then when you are once you have completed the reading of one is to many exhibits, you move towards your drafting. And all these one is to one exhibits you can read when you are starting your drafting. You understand that? I'm just going through some questions. No, Amal, do not read one is to one exhibits during the first 60 minutes. In the first 60 minutes, just read the first exhibit, which is the overview or the background, and then read one is too many. If there are no one is too many, then just identify one is to one pertains to which question and start drafting. Yes, Umer, I think in the last couple of attempts, you are right. Most of the exhibits are one is too many. Oh, one is to one, which is good news, right? I like one is to one exhibits. They are short, they are specific. We know exactly which question to use it in. So just read the one is to many exhibit first, if there might be one or two, and then the moment you reach one is to one exhibit, stop reading and start drafting. Okay. Okay. The drafting time is 1.8 minute per total marks. So for each question, how do you control your drafting? Uh, so it is, you have to spend like 1.8 minutes per total marks. And when I say total marks per question, it means total marks means technical marks. Technical marks, TECH, plus professional marks is equal to total marks. Okay, that's why. So if the question has 8 technical marks and 2 professional marks, so the total marks is 10. So 1.8 minutes you have to allocate. So for a 10 marks question, how many minutes are you supposed to give for a 10 marks question? How many minutes for a 10 marks question? Come on, guys, I want you to participate. 18 minutes. Yes, very good. Excellent. Now, what to do if your drafting time is up? Like when we were doing yesterday's question, if we are supposed to do it in 18 minutes and you have not completed your answer and the 18 minutes are up, what you have to do then? Tell me. Continue or move forward? Yes. Absolutely. So if the time allowed time for a particular question is up, you have to leave that answer incomplete and move on. So just complete whatever paragraph you are completing and move on. You remember yesterday's slide, why students fail SBL? Because of time trap. And what is time trap? That they overspend their time on any one particular question, be it question number 1 or be it any stupid question. For some reason, students, they unknowingly or by nervousness or under exam stress, they overspend the time on one particular question, and that is the end. The moment you overspend time on one particular question, you are dead. It's a suicidal strategy. All right. So time management is very, very important. Now, number of points. So this was another concern by the examiner, that students are not giving sufficient number of points according to the marks. So it's a two-edged sword. Yeah? It's a two-edged sword. So if you give less number of points, you will lose marks because you're not giving sufficient number of points. And if you give more number of points, then you will disbalance your time management, and you might not get marks for so many extra points. So you have to be very, very balanced. How do we decide what is the right number of points? As I said yesterday, normally we follow the assumption that one well drafted point can get you 2 marks. Maximum allowed is 2 marks. So if it's a 10 marks question, divide by 2, so you will arrive at the number of points. Okay. Again, I will just use total marks and not get into the complication of technical marks or professional marks. I will pick up the total mark of the question and I will divide it by 2. Is this clear? Do not complicate, please. Pick up the total marks, divide by 2. Khalas. If you are following some previous strategy, then kindly unlearn that, or don't get confused. Just keep it simple. Total marks divide by 2. So if it is a 12 marks question, how many points for 12 marks? Exactly 6 points. 60 points. Very good, Marjolin. I know you are joking. 60 points. So for 12 marks question, 6 points. Exactly 6 points. Okay, don't get into the things complication of minimum 6 points or maximum 6 points. Khalas. Marjoline, please, I'm watching your comments. You need to unlearn those previous things. Just keep your life simple, please. Forget about these professional. I'm saying in plain and simple English, total marks divide by 2. Is that clear? Now, if it is a 15 marks question, what do we do? If it's a 15 marks question, how many points? 7.5. Very nice. So who's this guy? 7.5, eh? Fatima. Okay. So 7.5 means here you can either do 7 to 8. 7.5 is nothing. 7/8. So if you are able to find 8 points, then go for 8 points. If you are able to find 7 points, go for 7. 7/8. Easy? Okay. Very good. And normally, please, 1 point should be 1 paragraph. Do not try to squeeze in 2 points in 1 paragraph. So 1 paragraph means 1 point. So if the question is 14 marks, how many paragraphs should I expect to see? If the question is 14 marks, how many paragraphs should I, if I count your points, how many paragraphs? For 14 marks, 7 paragraphs. So who the hell is saying 14? Mariglin, I'm honestly very, very worried about you. Hafiz, you are giving me 14 paragraphs for 14 marks? Too bad. Guys, you need to pull up your socks. I'm saying 1 point carries 2 marks. And 1 point is 1 paragraph. So how many paragraphs for 14 marks? 7 paragraphs. The number of points should equal the number of paragraphs. Now, how complicated is that? My God. Now, slight exceptions. So this is the rule of thumb, and there is a slight exception. Sometimes you get a question, identify the weakness and give recommendation. So there will be a word and. Identify weakness and give recommendation for each of the weakness. So I think then this kind of question, I would allocate 2 marks for identifying the weaknesses and then 2 marks giving recommendation how to fix those weaknesses. So in total, 4 marks. If the requirement asks you for weakness and recommendation, remember this word, internal control, or identify the weaknesses and give recommendation, then 2 marks for weakness, 2 marks for recommendation. So total is 4. So if it's a 16 marks question and it says identify weaknesses and give recommendations, 16 marks question, how many weaknesses are you supposed to identify? Yes, very good. 4 weaknesses. Good, Hafiz. Very good. Marjoline, what do you think? 4 weaknesses along with 4 recommendations. So, okay. Exactly same argument can also goes on this thing. Identify key risks and give recommendation. Very, very similar question. Instead of weakness, the question tells you to identify the main risk. Again, so same analysis. I'll assume 2 marks for identifying the risks and then 2 marks for me to give recommendations how to address those risks. So again, 4 marks. And the last exception is very interesting. In a finance related question. So what is a finance related question? It could be ratio analysis, or it could be financial projections, right? Or so ratio analysis or financial projections. So in these type of questions, normally you follow divide by 2. So if it's a 12 marks question, do a financial analysis, how many points will you normally give? If it's a 12 marks question, it just says analyze the financial position. So 6 points, right? Divide by 2. That's the usual rule of thumb. However, because it's a financial question, I suggest, it is my humble recommendation, to give 1 or 2 extra points. So if it requires 6 points, try to give 7/8 points. But this rule is only for finance related. Why? Because I hope you guys are good in finance. So if you give 1 extra point or maximum 2 extra points, you might be able to score a bit more, which might help you cover up for any shortfall in some other question. Is that clear, everybody? Is that very clear? Okay, please. A lot of students, yes, Amara, a lot of students, they struggle with this. And this is the most common comment. If you read the examiner's exam reports, he will always say students either they tend to overwrite, like they write much more than it's required, or they tend to write less points, which is not sufficient as compared to the marks. So please, you have to be and it's very simple. Just divide by 2. Alas. If it's weakness plus recommendation, divide by 4. Recommendation plus mitigation actions, divide by 4. And if it's a pure finance question, try to give at least 1 extra point if you can find out. Yes, Yusuf, it's okay. All right, guys. Format of your answer, very simple. There's no rocket science. That linking your answer with exhibit is a must. We saw that yesterday. Adopt paragraph style of writing. Okay, avoid bullets. Give small paragraph. Try to give headings. If you can give subheadings, it would be very nice. That for each paragraph, if you saw yesterday, I'm not sure. I gave some subheadings, right, in the second question, just so that the examiner can see what you're talking about. And did you notice that I love leaving one line between each paragraph? So on your CBE platform, just leave one blank line between each point or each para, so that the examiner can visually see your answer, different paragraphs clearly. High focus on formats. Look for stress words in your exhibits. What are stress words? Very, significantly, extremely, notably. These are stress words. So if you come across any stress word in your exhibit, try to use that particular sentence or information in your answer. So use tabular format for weakness and recommendation type questions. So the question in which you are supposed to identify weaknesses and give recommendation, use a tabular format. Left hand side you can use weakness, right hand side you can mention the recommendations. Same applies for risk and mitigation questions. Okay, it will simplify your presentation. And use of models is not mandatory. This one is very interesting. What to do if unable to find answer? And I can guarantee in almost all the papers I have seen, there is one part or one requirement or one question which really goes above my head, and I'm not able to find information in the exhibit or whatever. So there will always be a question, something like that. Okay, so be mentally prepared that there will be a question which you will not be able to find information. So what to do? So I would normally attempt this kind of question in the last. That's the first thing. What do you think? So I would attempt this kind of a question in the last. I will not fall in the time trap, because if I start working on it, I might exceed my time because I want to save it. So, and towards the end, what will I do? I can first define. So if let's say the topic is disruptive technologies, if it's a question on disruptive technology, so at least you can define what is disruptive technology. You can, one paragraph. There is no marks for definition, but at least it will start filling some space and it might build up some confidence. And then this is beautiful. You can use the search find option in the CBE platform. Do you know that in your CBE platform there is a search option? So if it's a question on disruptive technology, you can just go to various exhibits, press the search button, type disruptive, and see whether disruptive is there on the exhibit or not. If it is there on the exhibit, just copy paste that paragraph, bring it on your answer sheet. Then go to the next exhibit, search there, then so on and so on. Okay, so utilize the search and find option, but the keywords which you will type has to be very accurate. Okay, so do you know uh, where the search option is? You know where the search option is? I'll just show you on the CBE platform. If I open up my, let's say, newspaper transport, if I open up this exhibit, you see this magnifying glass. Press here, type competitor. So if it becomes red, that means there is nothing there. Type customer. Let's see if the word customer is there. Customer. Oh, there are 9 places where customer word has been used on this exhibit, and it will shade you. Customer is here, then you press next. So it's here, then you press next. It's here, and then next. It's here. If it's here, if you want to copy paste this sentence, you can go here, you can control C, and you can paste it. So utilize the search find. The search find option will just help you identify if there is any information on any of the exhibits. So you have to find on each of the exhibit. You can copy paste that, you can elaborate on that, and that's it. Just make sure that you don't waste a lot of time on such questions. Okay, just put a little bit here and there, search, find, paste one small paragraph in your own words, whatever you can cook up, and move on. Just don't leave it blank. Try to do this towards the end. Any questions? What if you're not found in the search? Too bad. Too bad. But it's unlikely. It's not like that. I'm pretty sure that if there is a question which talks about something, there must be some information somewhere. It's just that marginally you may not be able to find it manually. So I'm pretty sure search will help you. 99% it will be there. Ah, very good, Ahmer. Ahmer is saying I can use Control F. Yeah, I think that works. Control F. Okay, if it works, then fine. Website page, and if I press Control F, yeah, it works. Perfect. Thank you for sharing. Right, guys. So I gave you a summarized version of the exam techniques, and if you want to go through a little bit more detailed discussion on the exam techniques, please use this link from 5 minutes onward. It will be the same slides but more detailed discussion. But if you have understood from this, then no need for anything extra to be done, right? All right, so let's go with technical articles. So yesterday, I discussed that there are 2 new articles which has been published in last month for SBL, and these 2 are responsible leadership was the first article, followed by environmental and sustainability issues was the second article. So I'm expecting there's a very high chance that some question might come out from this topic. So there are several previous articles. Most of them have already been tested in your past exams. So forget about the previous articles. Okay, do not waste your time reading those. Just focus on the latest 2 articles. Is that clear? So yesterday we spoke in detail about responsible leadership. All right. So, and today I will talk about environmental and sustainability issues. Just a recap, what is responsible leadership? So a traditional leader, all used to focus on shareholders only. Whereas now in the last 5 to 10 years, organizations, good responsible leaders and good responsible organizations, they have started focusing on wider stakeholders in addition to obviously the shareholder. So wider stakeholders. So what is a responsible leader? They focus on right. They focus on multiple stakeholders, social act responsibility or contribution of the organization, environmental sustainability, and focusing a lot on ethical and moral decision making. These are the attributes or qualities of a responsible leader or a responsible organization. So you see, and then if you notice, one of the attributes is environmental sustainability, that a good leader also focuses on protecting the earth, the natural resources, the environment, all these things. So if you look at the second article, its name is environmental sustainability issues. So this is basically an extension or a further discussion of the, this is basically a continuation of the previous article. What is environmental sustainability issues? So responsible organization, we already know what is a responsible organization. I will just read the definition. A responsible organization not simply earns profits for its shareholders, but they also have a duty towards their other stakeholders, such as social contribution and environmental sustainability. That's a very nice balanced definition of a responsible leader or a responsible organization. There are two important words. If you see here, there is a social contribution, which a nice organization does, and environmental sustainability. So what do I mean by social contribution? Employees, customers, suppliers, society. So these are the things which are organization they focus on improving. So the employees, a good organization will always take care of their employees. So you know that every country has a minimum wage concept, right? A good organization will give them extra wage. They will not stick to the minimum wage. Their pay scales would be nice, their working conditions, health and safety, training and development, gender equality, growth opportunities, all these aspects relating to employees will be nicely done in a responsible organization. Similarly, they will take care of customers, they will take care of suppliers, they will not do frauds, data privacy, they will not compromise on quality of the ingredients, all those things. And then lastly, good organizations, they also pay back to the society by involving in CSR, social activities, giving internship programs, job creations, funding, schools, or financing healthcare sector, or beautification of the city, or tree plantation drive, or beach cleaning, whatever, all these social activities. But the main topic is the main topic is environmental sustainability. This article is about environmental sustainability. So environmental sustainability means what? So all organizations, they have environmental impact as well, right? Normally they have adverse environmental impacts. Maybe they have a factory, so there's pollution, there is waste, disposal of waste products, right? They use energy, they use oil, which is scarce resources. They might need trees, which is scarce resources, or they use, so all these aspects relate to environment. So what are the three broad things? responsible use of limited resources. So if they are using the natural resources like oil, gas, trees, or whatever, they should use it responsibly. They should not waste it, because we know that oil and trees and all these are have limited quantity, right? And then handling of their waste products. So they try to minimize their wastages. They try to maximize the use of recycled products, and they dispose of their waste products in a very responsible, harmless manner. And also the third thing is pollution, like carbon emission, green, all these things. So these are the three broad areas which a responsible organization will focus on. All right. So what will happen? Okay, let me hide it. What will happen if an organization, it doesn't, if it causes harm to the environment? Let's say it is burning all the waste products. So there's a large fire and black smoke going in the sky, and that factory is giving thick black smoke, and the river, they are disposing all their chemicals in the river. Oh my God, what will happen to organizations um, if they don't follow proper environmental protocols? In today, legal penalties, very good. Reputational damage, very good. Fines, very good. Brand image, very good. Business shutdown, yeah. That's also possible, that if it's such a big thing that it might also need to going concern. Yes, it is possible. Loss of customers, that's very important. So there are now a lot of customers who takes this seriously. So if they find out that the company is not environmentally responsible, they will boycott their product. They will go for companies who are more environmental friendly. Very nice, very nice. So this is a very important thing which might come in your exam. What will be the consequence, or what are the risks if you don't, if you are not environmental sustainable, if you're not following environment sustainability, what are the risks? So please, this is the list I have made from the article. So number one is operational risk. What is operational risk? Business disruption. So if there's any, if you do anything bad, you might need to stop the factory, or there might be some protest, so you have to stop your work to fix the problem, whatever. So there is environmental non-compliance can lead to business disruption. It can lead to regulatory risks, for example, legal fines and penalties. It can lead to reputational risk, which means bad publicity, bad brand image. It can lead to business risk like loss of customer, loss of market share, loss of revenue. So your business, your revenue, your profits might start going down, and ultimately it will lead to financial risk in terms of fines, in terms of penalties, in terms of fall in revenues. Ultimately, everything will reflect bad on the P&L. So please remember this list, okay? There are 5 possible risks attached with environmental matters: operational risks, regulatory risk, reputational risk, business risk, financial risk. Then there are 2 examples given in your article. Let me start with the easy one. For example, they said that the automobile industry. So you think automobile industry is causing harm to the environment? What do you think? Automobile industry is causing harm to the environment. How? How is automobile industry causing harm? So one is emission or air pollution. So yes, CO2 emissions. So very good. Pollution, CO2 emissions. What about the fuel, the petrol or the diesel which we are consuming? So on one side, it is consuming too much natural resources in terms of fuel, petrol, oil, diesel. All these have limited quantity, right? And then on the other end, from its backside, it is throwing out these black smoke CO2. So currently, automobile or motor industry is under a lot of criticism because they are causing too much damage to the environment. Do you remember in COVID when there was lockdown, the sky opened up, and things became clear, and it was bright, sunny days. Divanish, I'll come to it. You see, so yes, so what is automobile industry doing about it? What is automobile industry doing about it? So now they are coming up with hybrid options. They are coming up with electric cars, right? Now they are getting popular because more and more customers they prefer eco-friendly things. Even the government is encouraging eco-friendly cars, like they are giving tax rebates to people who are buying eco-friendly cars. There are free charging stations, there are preferential. And Umair is saying that in UK has banned petrol cars from 2030. Really? So, Umair, if the petrol cars are banned from 2030, what options do we have? What do we do? Diesel car, cycles, e-car, okay, probably electric or hybrid. I don't know. But this is getting serious now, right? So, Tesla, look at Tesla, how popular it became. Right. Okay. And then they also talked about fashion and clothing industry. So even this clothes industry, they manufacture clothes with a very short lifespan. So they call it one season fashion. You know what is a one season fashion? That's something which I will buy for this summer. I will wear it, and then that design becomes outdated in the next season. So I'll just dispose it off. So again, this kind of companies who just make season to season clothes, they are under strong criticism because that's such a waste of clothes. You just wear it for few months and then you discard those clothes. So clothes, they use cotton. Cotton is a natural resource, right? And then all that manufacturing process in which you use electricity, this transport, so much thing has been done, and then you use it for just few months and you just dispose of the clothes. It's not worth it. So again, these companies are companies who are misusing resources irresponsibly, are getting uh, under scrutiny by customers. People have stopped buying their products, right? So now those organizations who really indulge in social and environmental initiatives, how can they demonstrate it to their stakeholders? If my company is socially responsible, I'm spending money on social activities, I'm spending money on environmental activities, how can I communicate all these initiatives to my stakeholders. Don't you think I should communicate? Yes, it's very important that we communicate all these things, right? We should take advantage of it. If we are a good company, if we are doing some good causes, we should. So there is something called integrated reporting. All right, integrated reporting. So there is a financial report. We all know of annual accounts, annual reports. But we all know that annual accounts or annual reports are mostly financials, right? So if there are like 100 pages, so 85 pages will be financials. So annual reports or financial reports, they are largely focused on shareholders and financials. They just they don't really highlight social and environmental initiatives. But an integrated report, it it really focuses on disclosing the social initiatives, the environmental initiatives of an organization. Right. So let's keep this word in mind: integrated reporting. Now, the last thing is impact of environmental initiative on industries. So if let's take an example of Tesla. So there were many giants in the market like BMW, like Audi, like Toyota, like Suzuki, like Mercedes. These are like 100-year-old companies in the automobile industry. And Tesla, just out of nowhere, it's a very small company, out of nowhere entered the market and became such a big successful company. How did it penetrate all these big bully giants? Because it focused on offering eco-friendly, environmental friendly products. So the Tesla cars are 100% electric cars, carbon neutral, you know, and it was able to beat and penetrate all these giants by introducing a pure environmental friendly product. Do you agree? So exactly. So that is, now you understand. So if organizations, if there are many environmental friendly options, power of customers will increase because customer will have more choices. Okay. Power of supplier might be neutral. Threat of new entrants. What do you think? The threat of new entrants in automobile has gone up? Absolutely. Now more and more companies are entering the automobile market, offering eco-friendly cars. So now Tesla is not the only one. Now there are more newer companies. There are Chinese brands. There are German brands. I'm forgetting few names. But if you Google, you'll find out that there are no more companies who are entering the market. So basically, threat of new entrants have gone up because this is a whole new segment, eco-friendly cars. Competition has increased because now as more and more players are entering the market offering eco-friendly cars, it will increase competition. Threat of substitutes has increased because obviously all this is substitute, alternative products, innovation. So this is the impact of environmental friendly products on the Porter 5 forces. It increases customers bargaining power, it increases the threat of new entrants, it increases the competition, and it increases the threat of substitute products. Okay. Yes, Siri. Now all the traditional brands are also offering eco-friendly cars. So BMW has its eco car, Audi is offering eco-friendly car, Mercedes has launched its eco-friendly car. So why these have, so they have no choice now. This is called disruptive technologies. They have to adopt the latest trends, right? Tata is now selling. Oh, that's good, Milan. Thank you for sharing. Differentiation. I like that one. All right. I think you guys, yes, Fatima, I like your argument. So it looks like you guys have understood. All right. So we are done with the two articles, responsible leadership and environmental and sustainability issues. Now, because it is kind of linked with integrated reporting, I just thought I'll spend 5 minutes in revising this topic as well. Integrated reporting has been tested a couple of times in the past, but I think that since last 3-4 attempts, this topic has not yet been tested. So it's high time. I might expect something on this topic, integrated reporting linked with environmental sustainability article. So what is integrated reporting? It is a report which basically integrates a lot of things. So the starting point is we need to understand the limitations of a financial statement. So financial annual accounts or financial accounts, annual reports, they are more, you see, focused on shareholder. They are more focused on shareholders, whereas integrated reporting is more focused on stakeholders. So they focus on shareholders as well. It's not like they don't focus on shareholders, but other than shareholders, they also focus on various stakeholders. And annual accounts are basically focus on financial information, whereas integrated reporting, they include financials, basic financials, but they also focus on business related information, business performance, business strategies, all these things. Thirdly, financial statements are historic. They talk about last year, what happened in the last year, whereas integrated reporting, they tend to focus on future plans, future strategies of the company. And then financial statements, they focus on share capital, whereas integrated reporting, they have 6 capitals. Financial reporting, they don't focus on social initiatives and environmental initiatives, whereas integrated reporting, it really emphasizes on organizations, social activities and environmental activities. Financial statements are short term, like 1 year period, whereas integrated reporting takes a longer term view of the business, where it is heading towards. Do you understand the limitations of financial statements? And to address those limitations, integrated reporting was introduced like 15 years back. It's not that new. It's already there since last 10-15 years. So what is integrated reporting? You can have a look at it. It's just a definition. What are the contents? It's fine. The 6 capital, that's important. So integrated reporting, it talks about 6 capital, that an organization has 6 capital, not 1 capital. So first of all, it says the organization will have financial capital. So financial capital is the usual financial position of the company. Okay, the balance sheet, the P&L, the reserves, the cash flows, the liquidity, how easily can an organization raise funds or finance. So financial analysis, financial is one part of the 6 capital, right? And then it talks about manufacturing capital. Manufacturing capital, analyzes the non-current assets such as plant and machinery, and it also analyzes current assets such as inventories. Okay, that's called manufacturing capital. And then intellectual capital. Intellectual capital talks about research, development, innovation, brands, patents, technical and research staff. All right, this is our intellectual property, our brain, our. Then it talks about human capital. As the name says, human capital talks about our employees. So knowledge, skills, and experience of employees, their productivity and efficiency, staff turnover, staff satisfaction, all the aspects relating to employees are covered under human capital. Social capital talks about customers and suppliers, society, community, and governments. Social also includes employees, right? But employees covered separately at the human capital. So all the other remaining are covered here in social capital. And lastly, there is natural capital, which talks about CO2, recycling, disposal, pollution, use of scarce resources. Is this clear? The six capitals, you will need to remember the six capitals: financial capital, manufacturing capital, intellectual capital, human capital, social capital, natural capital. Okay. If you want to understand in more detail, you can watch my September and December webinars, which I had mentioned in the start. I have covered this topic in great detail. In fact, I have even solved a proper question on integrated reporting, right? So please make sure that you watch those webinars which I mentioned in the start to give you a broader coverage of SBL. Now, what are the advantages of integrated reporting? Why should organizations go for integrated reporting? Number one, it's a voluntary disclosure, right? You are disclosing much more than you are legally required. So it's a voluntary disclosure. So if you are giving more information on your own to all the stakeholders, it enhances the organization's image and reputation for transparency and openness. And then it's an effective communication with all stakeholders, right? Because a financial statement or an annual report is a communication with shareholders only, but IR is a communication tool with multiple stakeholders. Remember, responsible leadership, they focus on stakeholders. So IR is the right tool to communicate with multiple stakeholders. And then it focuses on social and environmental activities of an organization. It talks about the six capitals. It gives better understanding and decision making by shareholders, stakeholders, and potential investors. It attracts investment at a lower cost of capital due to availability of greater information, and it will in the long run give competitive edge over other companies. It will basically bring your build your brand and image, right? So if you are a socially and environmental responsible company, slowly and gradually in the long run you will get famous. You remember we discussed the advantages of being a responsible company yesterday. Same thing. But then there might be certain limitations of IR. It may have too much commercial information on strategy. So if you're disclosing your future plans, future strategies, so it might not suit you in a commercial manner. And sometimes the valuation of six capitals is quite subjective in nature, right? So how do you place a monetary value? Some of them are qualitative. Right, guys? Any questions? Suggest yeah. So as I said, yeah, in my one of my earlier webinars, I have solved questions on integrated reporting. So there are two type of questions which you can expect on IR. Number one is, you might be asked to analyze the six capital. Some data will be given of an organization, and you will be asked to analyze from an integrated reporting point of view, which basically means analyze using the six capitals. And the other type of question which I have seen is, what are the benefits of IR? So just remember the advantages of IR, just remember the six capitals, and just remember the differences between a financial report and a integrated report. Yes, DCS question number 1A. Thank you, Milan. DCS question number 1A is IR. And I have done that. I have solved it. In fact, I solved it in my 2 weeks back in my own personal webinar. It's all on YouTube. Just Google, yeah. Just Google by my name and you might see it. Right. So now I think let's spend some time on drafting. So always remember these three things. Always remember, whenever you are doing any SBL question, focus on professional skills, right? 20 marks out of 100 is professional skills. 20% of your SBL paper is professional skills, and it is easy to grab. It is easy marks. It is cash marks. So always try to maximize your leverage on professional skills. Try to give very nice format, sexy format. The examiner should feel that yes, visually your answer script is amazing, it's very professional. And all lastly, focus on exam techniques like time management and linking. You will never go wrong if you focus on these three things. Okay. All right, guys. So my favorite segment is here now. What's the time? How much time we have? We started at 7:30, 8:30, 9:30. Oh, we've got like at least half an hour before the break. All right, all right. So let's do a very interesting question. And as I had mentioned yesterday, that I have deliberately picked up a question which is a general question. By general, I mean that no bookish knowledge is required. Just you need some basic IQ, basic street smartness. And I deliberately picked this kind of a question because in all your paper, at least 25 to 30%, 25 to 30 marks pertains to a question which just uh, belongs to common sense. And that is where the students, they struggle, because the students, they are bookworms, they like to read the book and this and that, and you forget the common sense. So let's see this question. Okay, SBL specimen paper number 2, Railco, and we will be doing question number 4A and B. 4A we will do now, and 4B we will do after the break. So please open up your CBE platform, specimen 2, and we have to read exhibit 5 and 7. 5 and 7. Okay. Question number 4. So we are doing 4A and 4B. So please, you see, remember, yesterday I said there are 3 components of the question. There is a background, and then there is technical requirement, and then professional skills. So please read this here. 4A time starts now. Please type done if you are done. Very good. 30 more seconds. All right, guys. Interesting question that you have been asked by the chair of the Audit and Risk Committee. What do you mean by chair? Chairman. Okay. You have been asked by the chairman of the Audit and Risk Committee, big designation, to review the findings of the financial controller and present a report which requires you to do the following. Analyze the information presented in the spreadsheet produced by the financial controller. Interesting. We have to analyze the information in some spreadsheet prepared by the controller, questioning any assumptions he may have made, and explain the implication of the findings for Railco. So there are two things you're supposed to do. You have to analyze the information, and then in the end you have to explain the implication of the findings for Railco. So what is the impact of that finding on overall Railco? And under professional, you have to demonstrate skepticism skills in considering the information presented in the spreadsheet. So how can you demonstrate skepticism skills in this question? Any idea? Remember we talked about yesterday. If you want to score high on skepticism question, we should challenge, we should ask questions. We might say it seems inappropriate. We can say I disagree. Not criticizing the report, but some portions of the report, questioning mind. So the best way is that try to imagine that you are reviewing something, you are an auditor and you are asking questions. So auditor has to have a skeptical mind, right? Right. So what's the format required? Report. All right, guys, I give you 1 minute. Please prepare a report. Prepare the skeleton. Time starts now. Keep the two windows side by side. It will increase your speed. Okay. So we are now doing task 4A. So this report is for part 4A and B or only for 4A? I think it's for both. Yeah. This report is covering both because of the indent. So let's make a report which covers both. Task 4. Time starts now. Okay, I'm done. If you are done, please type done. I can give you 30 more seconds. All right. Please compare your format with mine. Where is it? So task number 4, it says report in the center, big font, to chair of the audit and risk committee from internal auditor, subject spreadsheet and fraud, date 6 September. Introduction, I just copy pasted the requirements from both the requirements, and then I give three broad headings: analysis of the spreadsheet, implication of the findings, these two pertains to task 4A, and then reduce the level of fraud, this is part B. And then I gave a closure, best regards, internal auditor. Yeah, all right. So now I am done. I will close this. Which exhibit are we supposed to go? No, Daniel. Which exhibit? I think 7. Interesting analysis. So first of all, I would want to give you, I want to give you, I want to give 5 minutes to you on your own. Okay, this is a spreadsheet which has been prepared by whom? The finance controller. You are who? You are another person. You are an internal auditor. You are supposed to review this working and, identify any mistake or challenge something. So for that, you need to first understand what this guy is doing. The finance controller has done. So again, there is no bookish knowledge required. It's all understanding on your own. So you remember yesterday's scenario for those people who joined us today for the first time. So Railco, one of the biggest problem at Railco is that it says that 40% of its stations do not have a ticket barrier. That's crazy, right? That 40% of my stations do not have a ticket barrier, which means anybody can walk in. There's no ticket barrier or ticket checking in process. Because of this weakness, More and more passengers are traveling on my trains without buying the tickets, which is causing a huge revenue loss to Railco. Obviously, when people start, if you don't buy tickets and start using free of cost, we will lose a lot of revenue, right? So now this guy, this finance controller, is trying to estimate what is the amount of the he's trying to analyze the fraud. By fraud, what we mean here is that people are traveling without tickets. So what's the impact of that on our company? Got it? The background. Now please, I give you full 5 minutes. Try to first make some head or sense, head or leg of this spreadsheet. Let me see how street smart or how good CFO you are. Time starts now. 5 minutes. If you guys are done, please type done so that I know that you have taken a quick look. Do not start the drafting, but I want you to get a feel of the spreadsheet. If you're done, please type done. 30 more seconds. All right, guys. So how many of you were not able to understand this spreadsheet? Please write me. You are not able to understand, let's say at least 50%. You just understood less than 50% of the spreadsheet. Please type me. Be honest, it's okay. So if you just understood less than 50%, then type me. Okay. It's okay. That's fine. It's natural that everybody will not understand, right? It happens. Okay. But did you see there is no involvement of any chapter here? You see, no chapter can help you. It is just a spreadsheet out of the blue, and you're supposed to just make the head and tail of the spreadsheet on your own. I cannot teach you any chapter or model for this. This is the type of questions which normally comes in your paper. Now, how to draft it? Of course, I will help you with that. I'll show you we will draft it together. But I was curious. I just wanted to see how many of you understood and how many of you. So what I'm guessing is 50% of the people they understood, and 50% of the people are saying they are shaky. They are not able to understand the spreadsheet completely. They understood like half of it. Okay, interesting. So I'm also looking at this spreadsheet for the first time. All right, I don't do specimen questions, but because I picked it up, so I'm looking at it for the first time. So now just see, I will review it as a CFO. It says initial data on stations in region 1. Region 1. So this is about data of region 1. Analysis of fraud information based on 20x6 analysis. Okay. So the first column is towns. How many towns are there in this one region? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. So 10 towns. And then it says ticket barriers Y, Y, N, N. What the hell is this? Y, Y, N, N, Y, Y, N, Y. What does this mean? I'm not as street smart as you guys. Y, Y, N, N means what? Yes, no, yes, no. Really? Interesting. So town A has a ticket barrier. Yes, no. It says yes. Town B, yes. Town C, no ticket barrier. So I remember reading from the scenario that 40% of the stations do not have town barrier. So I'm curious, how many no's are there? Now my CFO mind has started. How many no's are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 10. So I think it's a good, it does show in this data that out of 10, so this region has 10 towns, out of which 6 has barriers and 4 doesn't. So, all right, good. Now, I don't have any questions here. Population per town. So this guy, finance controller, has then written the population per town, how many people are living in the town. Okay, I don't have any, I can ask questions, but it's all right. I don't want to complicate things in the exam. So I'm fine. These are all facts, right? Right now, these are all facts. Can you challenge this fact? No. If there is no ticket barrier, it's no. What is the population per town? He's probably picked up from some census or town data or something. Maximum I can ask is, what is the source of your information regarding the population statistics? Do you think it's a valid question? And if I want to review, I might, if I want to make sure that this working is accurate and reliable, my first question would be that you are showing population per town. So Mr. Finance Controller, just help me understand, from where did you get these stats? I mean, are they up to date? Are they 10 years old? Are they reliable? Because I think the calculations depends on this column, right? So do you think we should ask this question if you want to make sure that the report, this is reliable calculation or not? That how did he get the population number? Is it reliable? What is his source of information? Just I will just ask a innocent question. Am I supposed to ask questions? Do you remember professional marks? Skepticism, right? That's, but it's a small point. It's not a showstopper for me. Uh, then it says monthly tickets sold to the town. So he's saying that how many tickets Railco sold in each town. So again, I don't have any issue here. This is a statement of fact, right? He's probably quoting from the system. So obviously, Railco will know how many tickets it is selling per town, right? So I'm assuming that's nothing wrong here. And then he says estimated percentage railway users per town. Very, so the word estimated itself says that it is estimated. So now estimations can go wrong. So this guy is saying that 21%, like this one, 21% of the people in town A, they use railway. And in this town, 17% people, they use the train. So he's giving some estimated statistics about the use, how many people they use the railway. And you can see it varies from town to town, highest being 35%. So town E, 35% people are using the trains, estimated users, and the lowest being 16, I think. Yeah, it's a big range, 16 to 31 or 30%, 35%. Do you have any questions here? I mean, this looks like a assumption, right? What can you ask him here? What is, yeah, what is the basis? From where did you get this specific information that which town, uh, how many people, percentage uses train? The census, DPT, what you say? Come on, the census will tell you how many people use train? I doubt. If you are in India, your census will tell this, that how many people use train? I don't know, but I think I will ask. And then it says estimated monthly ticket sales per town. Estimated monthly ticket sales per town. And then he says variance between tickets sold versus projected ticket sales. So this column is actual tickets sold, correct? And then he's saying that, this is the percentage of people who will be using trains. And then he's calculating estimated. How is he calculating? How did he arrive at this estimated monthly ticket sales? I believe, I have a feeling that he multiplies population by percentage. So, he arrived at how many people should have been using, and this is the difference, the variance between the projected sales versus actual sales. Do you agree? Is my assumption correct? I can just sense from the numbers on the columns that estimated, this column is basically population multiplied by 21%. 2, 3, yeah, makes sense. And then this minus this is this. Interesting. So I don't have any questions here and here, because these are just formulas, right? It's just calculating. These are just straightforward formulas. These columns are dependent on this column, most important, and this column. So I think we should challenge these two columns. What do you think? What do you think? Interesting. So now with the variance, what is he doing now? So he's saying that this many people, the tickets are undersold by this much. Spend per ticket sold, and it says estimated fraud per month. What is the meaning of spend per ticket sold? 59, 38, 44. And then I think he's multiplying 59 by 18202. So I think this is dollars, huh? This is the average price per ticket. Average spend per ticket is $59 per month. So he's multiplying the variance multiplied by this 6. Yeah. So he's arriving at the value. If 1820 tickets are undersold, he multiply it by the ticket price. He's arriving at the value of fraud per month. Am I right? I don't know. Just help me understand this. Yeah. So I will ask him. Yeah, exactly. From where? So I will ask him, Vaisa, from where you are getting these numbers? Why are they different? I mean, it can be different because of the length of the journey, or I don't know, but I will ask him that what is the basis, how you have calculated the average ticket price for each region. Although they are in the same range. No, they are not in the same range. So the lowest is 38, highest is 62. So it's a big range, right? So I will definitely be very interested in challenging him. From where? Because I think if these numbers change, the calculations will change, right? So if this column changes, if there's an error in this column, all the entire outcome will change. So I think I will challenge column H. So I will challenge column C. I will challenge column E. I will challenge column H. 3 things I've already found out, which I think I need to get more details. And then based on that, he's calculated estimated fraud per month. Interesting. But that's just a formula, right? X multiplied by Y is equal to Z. Now what is this? Fraud percentage for each town based on total population. So now it's calculating the fraud in terms of percentage. So maybe I think it's 1820. I'm just calculating on my own. 1820. Like tickets or fraud tickets divided by the population is 142. Perfect, man. So he's now calculating the fraud. So this is the fraud, right? In number of tickets. This is the ticket fraud. The fraud in terms of number of tickets. This is the fraud in terms of dollar. So he's calculating the fraud in terms of ticket as a percentage of population. So in town A, the fraud level is 1.28%. So if you divide this, the fraud quantity divided by population, you will learn. So in town B, the fraud level is 1.1. In town C, what the F? Look at the fraud level of town C, 8%. Why? Look at the fraud level of town D, 7.4. And then again 1 and 1, and wow, 9% fraud and 1, and then 7%. And so why so much spikes? What's so special about these ones? Eh? Tell me, guys. I'm lost. Why certain towns have such a high level of fraud? Really? They don't have banners or barriers? Are you sure? Let me check. Oh my God. No and no and no. Oh shit. You are absolutely correct. This is a great discovery. I mean, from the data, I can clearly see that towns which have ticket barriers, their fraud level is significantly lower as compared to towns which don't have ticket barriers. It's a huge gap. I mean, even if your data is little bit subjective, I mean, the gap is so big, you can easily identify um, towns with barriers versus towns without barriers. You can see the level of leakage. Oh my God. What to do? Now what this guy is doing? Now he's saying, assumed average percentage of unpreventable fraud in region 1 is 1.28. Achha. So he's saying that, there will always be some chances of fraud, right? It is an inherent thing. No matter what you do, some people like me will always try to travel without tickets. So he says there will always be X percentage will be fraud. You cannot do anything about it. So what is that X percentage which he is assuming? He's saying that the assumed average percentage of unpreventable fraud is 1.28. I would like to challenge it. I would not challenge, but I would like to understand how did he arrive at this magical number of 1.28. I can see that probably he's picked up the highest one in this region, but still, all right. So what is he doing now? Estimated fraud due to poor internal controls. So for these four towns, what has he done? So although the for this town the fraud level is 8%, But he's saying that 1.28% is unpreventable. So probably this 6.72% is preventable. So maybe if you had installed barriers, you may have been able to prevent 6.72% of the fraud tickets, right? This is the leakage. And then in the last column, what has he done? He has calculated the monetary value, so preventable annual fraud based on total population. So he's just extrapolated that this is the level of fraud per month, and if you multiply it by that level of the value of ticket and then multiply by 12, you will arrive at the annual dollar value. And look at the values, the annualized impact. So what amount is this? Is it 3.9 million? Tell me yes, no. Is this $3.9 million per year we are losing from town C? Is my understanding correct? $3.9 million? Shit, that's such a big sum. And then $7 million, $7.5 million we are losing. And then here $10 million and then $5 million. So he's saying that the total annual preventable fraud is $27 million in one region. Shit, that's a huge amount. So we are losing revenue of $27 million from one region. And then how many regions are there? Well, Irelco has 20 regions. So probably this guy has multiplied this amount by 20. 2 2s are 4. Yeah, it looks like that. These are 6. Yeah. They multiply this by 20, straightforward. So half a billion, that's almost more than half billion. 542 million is more $500 million we are using. So if I'm the CFO of this company, I will suicide. I will die of shame. I will not be able to sleep. That we are losing $500 million each year just because we have not installed ticket barriers. And what is this story he's saying? There are 20 identifiable regions within VLAN passenger service. Okay, so there are 20. So Railco has divided the entire country into 20 provinces or 20 regions. For this analysis, assume that all regions are of similar size and structure. I see. So it's assumed that all the regions are exactly the same or to this region. Is that a sensible assumption? I don't think so. Some regions might be larger, some regions might be smaller, some regions the population might be different, some regions the average ticket price might be different. So I would challenge that as well. But at a high level, at a very high level, $500 million is there, plus minus 10% here and there. My God. All right. So can I just read the question again? Analyze the information presented in the spreadsheet produced by the financial controller, questioning any assumptions he may have made, and explain the implication of the findings. 8 marks plus 2 10 marks. So do you think you will be able to, explain to the, who are we writing to? We are writing to the chairman of audit committee. Would you be able to explain to him what is this calculation about? And then some reservations which you might have, and then what it overall means. So what is the high level conclusion or lesson learned or message coming out from this calculation, the implications. Would you be able to do that? Fatima, it's not a finance question, right? Are you calculating something? Or maybe you can give one extra point, all right? So, all right. So I think let's take a break now. It's like more than 2 hours. Let's take a break, and after the break, we will come and do a little bit of drafting around this question, because a lot of people, they said that they understood the working, but they don't know how to draft or present the answer. So I'll help you draft this answer, and then we will move to another question. All right. So, but today I will not be able to give you a big break like yesterday, because today is our last day. I want to cover some things. So 20 minutes break, please. It is 10:30, let's say 10:40 here in Pakistan. So I will see you at 11 p.m. Paki time. All right, please. Okay. So see you in 20 minutes from now. Producing slides? What are you saying, Mary Glynn? Why producing slides? Have you been asked to make presentation? Wait, we'll come back from the break and then I'll show you what to do. No, no. Oh, okay. You are asking a general question. No, we will not be doing a question with slides in this webinar. You need to watch my previous webinars. Okay. Oh, in other questions, no, not in this webinar. Previous webinars, if you watch, you will see a couple of questions there. Sure, no problem. Let me go on a break. I'm very tired. See you in 20 minutes. All right, guys, are you back? Can we start? All right. So before we start, let me read the requirement. Analyze the information presented in the spreadsheet produced by the financial controller, questioning any assumptions he may have made, and explain the implications of the findings. 8 plus 2, 10 marks, which means 5 points. 5 points. Okay, for 10 marks, analyze. Okay, where's my Word document? Here. So analyze the spreadsheet. I have reviewed the spreadsheet prepared by the finance controller, in which he has tried to calculate the estimated fraud amount per annum as a result of what? Of lack of ticket barriers at railco stations. Is that a good opening? I have reviewed the spreadsheet prepared by the finance controller, in which he has tried to calculate the estimated fraud amount per annum as a result of lack of ticket barriers at railco stations. He has based his calculations on one region consisting of 10 towns and then extrapolated the findings to 20 regions. Is that okay? So I'm just analyzing the spreadsheet. Next para. So this will be considered as 1 point, okay? In which you are telling the chairman of audit committee what the spreadsheet is about. Overall, so overall, guys, what do you think? Overall, do you think the working does make some sense? Or is it a piece of garbage? What is your view? Overall, you think the working is reasonable? Does it the approach that he is taking the population, this minus this minus this? Yes, there are assumptions which I will challenge, but I think overall the approach, the way the spreadsheet has been, the amount has been calculated does make sense, because I don't think there is some other way. At the end of the day, it is all estimations and projections. So he's taken the population, he's covered the, that's what I'm trying to arrive at. That's what I'm trying to say here, that overall the spreadsheet and calculations looks reasonable. However, there are certain assumptions he has taken which needs further clarifications. So what are the things Uh, Population per town, I'm okay with that. Monthly ticket sold. So this one, estimated percentage railway users per town. Finance controller. Let me define finance controller somewhere. Finance controller has assumed a percentage for estimated railway users per town. I would like to understand what is the his source of this information, how we can validate this further. Why? I mean, if this goes wrong, what will happen? So if this column goes wrong, it will affect everything, right? I think this is a major column because if this changes, this changes, everything changes. It will have a significant impact. Uh, this is a crucial piece of information, crucial assumption, and any change in this will directly affect the end calculations, end results. Is that okay? Very simple. I'm talking to a board level senior person. I cannot be technical. I just need to explain to him very simple da 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 da. Okay. What else? Then this one, right? Spend per ticket sold. The FC has assumed different prices for different ticket prices for different regions, towns. I would like to know the basis behind this assumption. Any change in this will affect the value of the calculations, value of the fraud. Okay, done. Let me beautify. What else? Then you can also talk about this 1.28, huh? Average percentage of unpreventable fraud. So you can talk here that 1.28 is assumed. So anything above this percentage is considered as fraud. So it's very important that we need to understand and validate this assumption. So I'm now not drafting. So do you get an idea of how you give heading? So this will be your third heading. Whoa, what's happening? And then after that, I can talk about that he's, using this extrapolate for 20 regions. This is something that, I can say that that he's just multiplying the results of region 1 with 20, assuming that all the uh, regions are of similar size and structure. This seems as an unreasonable assumption because the regions may not be of same size and structure. Is that okay? So I will give like 4 concerns, and then there is an overall as well, analysis. And what is the implication? So what's the implication? So what does this finding tells us? So this is the summary, right? So the spreadsheet is showing some alarming results. If we assume that the assumptions are adequate, then it means that Railco is losing dollar five, how much? 42, 542 million of revenues each year. So if we are using, why? Because passengers are traveling without tickets. So what if we lose this revenue? What's the implication on our business? Because we haven't read the entire scenario. It's mentioned that Railco is struggling, it's making losses, and to cover those losses, Railco is constantly increasing ticket prices, and because it is increasing the ticket prices, the customers, the passengers are getting now frustrated. The ticket prices of Railco is the highest in amongst all in the region and the neighboring countries, all those things. So if Railco is able to control this fraud, then it will not need to increase its ticket prices, and hence as it would be able to manage enough. So for 10 marks, we've given enough. So there's a overall one. This is 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 4 point, 5 point, and this is 6 points. So very straightforward drafting, like you are talking to someone. I mean, when you are standing in front of audit committee and you are telling him this and this and this, that's the same language you will use when you are drafting. Short, simple, to the point, logical points. Alas, that's it. Do not go into models and theoretical, philosophical answers. Any questions on the way you draft? Yes, liquidity, yes. Questioning words, yes, it's a good idea. If we can add a question, maybe somewhere here. Okay. So question or showing, some, I would like to understand, I disagree, it's inappropriate, doesn't seem reasonable. All these things are skepticism. And then the impact that if the spreadsheet is giving us a very important information, it is trying to calculate the estimated amount of fraud, estimated, it could be, but just to get it does give an idea about the magnitude, right? Plus minus 10-20% here and there. As I said, no chapter, no bookish knowledge, just spreadsheet, IQ, and just lay out your answer like you are explaining to a non-finance idiot. Okay. Okay, just to see how it answers look. Uh, this was yesterday, we did yesterday, non-executive directors, and this one is today. Report to the chairman, blah, blah, blah. Then we said analysis of the spreadsheet. We gave all these points, implications of findings, and now we have to talk about reduce the level of frauds. Good. Now let's move to question number 4B. Recommend to the audit committee with justification suitable measures which could be implemented by Railco to reduce the level of fraud occurring on the network. Very interesting. So again, this is a very case study specific thought process. Okay. So we know that there is a huge fraud going on, like more and more passengers are traveling without tickets. What's the first recommendation you would like to give? How we can plug this? How we can reduce this thing? Yes, very good. First and foremost, install ticket barriers. That's the top most weakness, and the spreadsheet also clearly demonstrates that those towns which do not have ticket barriers, the fraud level is way high. So the first thing I would strongly recommend is that we install ticket barriers in all the stations. What is your justification? So the question says give recommendation along with justification. So how would ticket barrier, wait, Nawaz, how would ticket barrier help in reducing fraud? Justify. If you are saying install ticket barriers, I will ask you why. How will it reduce the fraud? How will installing ticket barriers, how it will reduce the fraud? How? Very good, Faiz. So ticket barrier by the name, it's very simple, right? So if we install ticket barriers, then passengers, don't use the word customers, passengers who do not have a ticket will not be able to enter the station because there is a ticket barrier. Very good. Very. You see, you have to read the requirement very carefully. It says recommend with justification. So with justification means that you explain that if this is my recommendation, why am I recommending this? How this recommendation will solve the problem. So when I say install ticket barriers in all the stations, I'm justifying it by saying that, if you install ticket barriers, then passengers who do not have a ticket will be stopped. They will not be able to enter the stations or board the trains without the ticket. Perfect answer, right? Now, other than uh, installing barriers, what else can we do? Common sense. Mid-journey checking, अच्छा, good. Cross-check on the train. So, ticket inspectors on the train? No, Yusuf. Ticket inspectors on the train, right? So supposing even if some people were able to cross the barrier, like they jumped the wall or something, then there should be ticket checkers or ticket inspectors on the train who should be checking randomly or ideally all the passengers. So I think I saw some, so I'm not drafting the answer, but what's the first one? That's the first recommendation, and you can draft, right? I read somewhere that there was some information about inspectors. So let me search inspector. There is one inspector. Here. Can you read this? Can you read this? It says Railco relies on ticket inspectors operating on train services to check tickets, but evidence suggests that this can only catch a minority of those who evade paying for the ticket. So they already have what they call ticket inspectors, but they're saying that, based on their historic thing, they're just able to catch very few. So now, keeping this in mind, can we use this sentence somewhere? So I will start with this. I will say second, I will say Railco relies on ticket inspectors, but evidence suggests that this can only catch. So now, what do you suggest to them? What do you suggest here? So all of you are saying have inspectors. We already have inspectors. So now you need to change your answer according to that. Better training, smart working? No, man. Where does it say they are not trained? Why can't we increase the number of ticket checkers? So if our ticket inspectors are not able to identify such a big fraud happening, they're just able to catch few people, then I think it's time that we try to increase the number of inspectors, recruit more inspectors, right? It says investment in training is low, but that's not for inspectors, that's for the overall thing. So yes, there might be some little bit contribution. So we can say both. So I think that it's not just training. I have a feeling that there must be, there must be more ticket inspectors and along with training. What do you think? Not after the barrier dipti, inside the train, when the train is moving. All right. So I would say that the second recommendation I can give is we should consider increasing the number of ticket inspectors. Well, let me draft it for you. Uh, what's the justification? How increasing the number of ticket inspectors, how it will reduce the fraud? Because the directors will ask you, why should we increase the number of ticket inspectors? Khalas. So simple, right? Very basic, logical business thinking. Railco should consider increasing the number of ticket inspectors so that they will be able to catch more passengers, more and more passengers who are traveling without tickets. Further, we should also, or you should also, I don't know what my role is, internal or external, or I can say Railco should also give adequate training to all the inspectors so that they become more effective and efficient. Nice, simple. Do you understand? Yeah, I'm coming to e-ticket. The third one is, the case also, because you have not read this article. There was this that some of the passengers said that, when we are getting late for work, then in that case, we don't have the time to stand in the ticket queue because they, Railco, they just have physical ticket booths at the stations. So people are saying that when the rush time, when we are getting late and there's a long queue for the ticket, we don't have the time to stand in queues. You guys do not have any online ticket buying options, and hence, if I'm getting late, I am sorry, but I have no choice but to hop on the train. So what do you think? I think we can recommend that Railco should uh, have online ticket booking system. That's very, very important. Yeah, in today's day and time, everything is online, websites. What about apps? Railco can have its own apps, top-ups, QR codes, and all those technology can make your life easy, right? Day passes, weekly passes, reminders. Online can actually auto recharge, monthly tickets, monthly pass. So much thing can be done to optimize your revenue. All right. So the third thing I would say is railcos should have introduce online ticket options. And then I can explain that one of the reasons is that because of the physical queue, people are not buying tickets. If we give them online options and technological facilities, reminders, top up options, blah 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 blah, the level of fraud will go down. Big data? Now, no. Big data will come when you have electronic data, right? So first install online thing, and then later on we can use big data to analyze the trends. How would just explained, Aisha? How would online option prevent fraud? I just said that some of the people, they are saying that they don't have the time to stand in physical queues. They want to pay, but because they're getting late, they don't buy the tickets. So if we have online options, people who are getting late, they might prefer buying online option. Okay, what else? How about increasing the penalty and punishment? Would that be a deterrent? That if you are caught, I will cut both your hands. What do you think? Excuse me, what's happening, guys? Behave. Right? So right now, so many people are enjoying without ticket because I think they don't have any fear. Right? There are no ticket inspectors, there is no fine. I don't give a shit. It's my train. No, sir, it's changing. Now, if you are caught, I will steal your girlfriend. I will take her with me. Or I will cut your hand. Or you will be hanged. Or $10,000 fine. Or something which can act as a fear, as a deterrent, right? So that people can know the consequence if they do it. Java. Okay. All right. Why double, Baba? Triple, fourble, fiveable. Why double? 5 times. And if you are caught 2 times, then you will be put in jail. You see, so these are the actual things we discuss in the boardroom. Honestly, in the boardroom, the way I'm talking, all the directors are sitting. This is the way we are talking in the boardroom. And this is what I will give in the report as well. If they ask me to write a report, I will give all the suggestions. Okay. No, I don't know, Fatima. It's too complicated for you. All right. What else can be there? Membership options, yes, monthly cards or something. Apps can be nice. And instead of buying physical online tickets, you have an app with QR codes. You can just swipe your phone and move out. Auto ticket checking machines. Okay. Anyway, so you got an idea, right? It was how many marks? It was how many marks? 8 plus 2, 10 marks. So there are 5 points. And if you are not able to come up with 5 points, then you can elaborate a little bit more on the 4 points and you will get good marks. For example, on the ticket inspectors, we said that we need to increase the ticket inspectors, and then we also said to provide them training. So these are considered as two different points. You can elaborate on both of them. There are so many ways to increase or elaborate your answers. The professional marks are for commercial acumen, skills in making sound recommendation or suitable measures. So do you think we were talking, do you think we demonstrated some business understanding in this, right? Absolutely. Whatever you guys were suggesting was showing that you understand the railway business and you're able to give relevant thing. An accountant is not able to do all these things. He would say, if there is a passenger without ticket, please debit his account. That's what an accountant will say. Okay, right. Excellent. So, all right, guys. Let me just go through. Uh, yes, Yusuf, both revenue and market share are commercial acumen words. So I'm glad nobody mentioned that, sir, if we install barriers, it will increase our cost. I'm very happy. Uh, yes, there will be cost, but of course, there is so much revenue which we are losing. I'm sure that, the benefit is much more. $500 million of revenue is not a joke. Okay, so we rather focus on protecting our revenue rather than worrying about the costs. That's a commercial sensible approach. All right, guys. So I hope I'm ending the drafting session today. I hope you really enjoyed and understood. You understood how you draft in SBL. Okay, how you link. So all my answers were linked with the exhibits because I was trying to solve the problems. I was picking up sentences. I was explaining very short but very simple language, but logically solid. The points were logically solid. They were not idiot points. Short to the point and logically debatable strong points. That's what you need in SBL. And in every attempt, you will get this kind of a question where no book knowledge will help you. It is just your common sense. All right. So those students who were not able to understand the spreadsheet, remember I had asked how many of you did not understand the spreadsheet. Now you are clear what it meant, how the spreadsheet work. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you which chapter can help you because there is no chapter on it. It is just your own practice, your own common sense, your own IQ, which you need to uplift a bit. All right, so let's move on with the remaining session. Okay, so those of you who joined late, if you have not joined any of my global WhatsApp group, then please message on this number and you will be sent the link. And if I think also in the handout section, you will see SBL WhatsApp group link. You can download that. Very good. So yesterday's video is now available. Yesterday's recording is now available on YouTube. And if you go to the handout section, there's a Word document which says SBL Day 1 link. You can download that video and then from there you can get the link. Download that document and from there you can get the link. All right. So as I had mentioned yesterday as well, I'm already running a a revision practice class of my existing students, which started on 10th of August. And we are supposed to do 8 full case studies like the same way we did here. We just did few questions here, but in those classes, I do a full case study. Live classes, solving, discussion, drafting. So we're supposed to do 8 questions. I think we have already done 5 questions. So 3 are remaining. So if you want to join now, you can join. You will get, 3 live case studies. The 5 which have been done, you can get all the recordings. And because you are joining late, I'm giving a 40% discount, and the price original was $90, and if you join now you just have to pay $55. For Pakistan based students it was 14,000 rupees. It's now only 8.5 thousand rupees. But then please bear in mind that 5 classes you have to watch the recordings, and 3 you can attend live. And there is also one mock script checking included in this price. That means I will check your mock, and there will be a grand revision 2 days before. Okay, so if you're interested for any more details, please message my coordinator. Now guys, let's try to wrap up. Okay, only 10 days are left approximately. You cannot study the entire syllabus in 10 days. Is that true? You cannot study the entire syllabus in 10 days. And also 30% of the paper comes outside the syllabus, right? We just saw some common sense questions. So there is no point in wasting your limited time in trying to cover the entire syllabus. You will have to adopt a smart approach. You will need to focus on top 25 topics. Okay, so here is a list of important models. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 models. If you do, that should be more than enough. And if you want to see, you can watch my December 2021 webinar, day number 5. In this webinar, I had actually talked about most of these models. So don't open the book, okay? You don't have the time. Just watch the video. So in 3 hours or 2 hours, I have covered these 5 modules. All right. After that, here is the list of important topics. So other than the models, these are the topics which you need to master. All right. So financial ratios and projections, funding strategies, budgets and MIS, project management / PID. You can drop this value chain. Forget about it. E-business and e-marketing, big data, CRM, IT and cyber risks, professional code of ethics, public interest, NEDs, committees, family owned, integrated reporting, 6 capital, we did that. Social and environmental footprint, we did that. Risk management, a very important topic. Control weaknesses, we did a question on identify the weaknesses, very important topic. And lastly, audit committee and internal audits. You can again watch my December 2021 webinar, day 5, in which I have covered most of these topics. Right, so just a quick recap on the exam techniques which we just discussed today. You have to link your answers with the exhibit, certain time management things. We discussed the number of points, how much you have to write. I think you understood now. Format of your answer, and if answer is unknown, what to do. Regarding the formats, you have to be very familiar with all these formats. Reports, I covered yesterday. Section of a report, I covered yesterday. Briefing paper, briefing notes, memo, I covered yesterday. Other than that, email, presentation slides, letter, press release, business case, project initiation document, weakness recommendation table, risk mitigation table. You have to cover this properly. On the professional skills, you have to be very, very hands-on. You must know evaluation means you have to include both pros and cons. I discussed this in detail yesterday, remember? Analysis skills, you have to identify or investigate reasons from the exhibit. You have to identify the root causes. Communication means proper format. Keep in mind the reader and your role. Commercial acumen, don't sound like an accountant. Don't mention costs first. Skepticism, ask question, disagree, challenge, probe. This was covered in yesterday's webinar. Yeah, so you can watch yesterday's recording. Now, uh, just a small thing here, that the CB platform which we are using for practice purposes. I repeat, the CB platform which we are using for practice purposes is slightly different than the actual CB platform in your exam. Very slight difference. What are the differences? These are the three differences. Toolbar varies. So move tool and text tool added in live. So if you want to move the exhibit up and down, right now you can easily move, but in the exam there's a hand button. You press that hand and then you will be able to move. And if you want to copy paste something, there's a separate button. You will press that and then you will be able to select some sentences. Okay, so that's like hand, and that's the icon if you want to select any sentence. Pasting into Excel spreadsheet, that's not relevant to us. If you want to read further, this is the article in which, but it's not a big deal. I just wanted to bring this to your attention that in the actual CB platform in your exam, a couple of features are slightly different. Now guys, what to do? So this is the study plan. A lot of students were asking in the question box, sir, please tell us how we can prepare in the next 10 days. So first of all, you already watched this webinar, June webinar, okay? Other than this June webinar, then you watch, I suggest you watch December webinar first, and then September webinar, okay? This is the two things. It will be this is a 15-hour thing, and this is a 12-hour webinar. This is a 15-hour webinar. It's not much you can do in 2 days, 3 days, right? Very, very important. This will cover a lot of things, these two webinars. They will cover the top 25 topics. They cover, like for example, December webinar, I have solved an entire case study called NEBI. Full case study I have solved in December 2021. So you will actually see how a full case study is solved. So please watch these two webinars. It will take you, let's say, 3, 4, 5 days. Once you have watched the webinars, then you have to do these 5 practice questions. And then you have to do these 3 under exam conditions, like timed conditions. Okay, so you have to do these like a proper mock. You will sit straight for 4 hours and try to do it, right? So 5 and 8, you have to do 8 questions. So if you do 1 question each day, it will take you 8 days, and then the few days you can spend here. All right, this is a study plan. It's a bit tight, but if you see, I've emphasized a lot on practice, and you just noticed when I was solving this scenario that it's all about drafting and practice and how your hands are working and your thought process. It's not about book knowledge, it's about case study itself. And it can only come through direct hands-on practice. There is no other shortcut or alternate to practice. So SBL, 30% time you spend on theoretical knowledge and 70% time you must spend on hands-on time-based practice. Okay. Please stay away from books and revision kits. You don't have time for any book or revision kit. Just rely on my ultra summarized notes. I have my ultra summarized note. It is available in my Google Drive. And if you join my WhatsApp SBL free groups, you can ask there and somebody will share you the ultra summarized notes. But more importantly, watch my webinars, the December and September webinars, and then practice these case studies. All right. Again, lastly, I would like to remind you, this was my first slide yesterday as well, that if you want to do SBL, you have to think like a CFO while doing the paper. You have to upgrade your thoughts. Think that you are a senior director, an experienced business leader, and you are talking or explaining your points to the board of directors. Do not assume, do not think that you are a student. Do not think there's an examiner. Just think you are a CFO, you are a mature, logical, street smart person, and you're explaining to the board. So better be short, simple, logical things. If you adopt this mindset when you are solving the paper, you will feel that your mind will come up with, wide solutions rather than being a narrow-minded accountant. Okay, these are the contact details for if you want to take any admissions in my revision classes, then that's the number of my coordinator. If you want to join the SBL group, that's the number. And this is my own private WhatsApp number in case you need to get in touch with me. Right, so now I'm open to questions. I will please ask questions and I will be most happy to answer. Sir, does come sir, can you please cover customer segmentation to give idea about the topic? No, Aman, I'm sorry. There's a time limitation, but customer segmentation simply means that you divide your customers into various segments, geographical wise or age wise or taste wise, right? I have solved this entire question in one of my paid batches in great detail. Sir, PID can come. Yes, absolutely. So far, PID has come, but not preparation. PID was given, and you were asked to identify the weaknesses on that PID. Sir, in exam, heading size won't increase or change even after selecting heading 1. Okay, Fatima, then nothing much can be done. You can just bold and underline it. In presentation question, what is the mark distribution like? Presentation question, the mark. So for example, good question. Please listen, everybody. So Divans has asked that in presentation slides question, what is the mark distribution like? So let's say the question says prepare 2 slides. Normally you will be told how many number of slides are required. So normally 2 slides are required most of the time. So if the question says prepare 2 slides and the total marks for this question is 12. So then you will first divide the marks between the 2 slides. So if there are 12 marks and 2 slides, then it means 6 marks per slide. That's the first step. So you first distribute the marks between the number of slides. So now I know that one slide is 6 marks. So generally, you can follow 2 marks per point in a slide or 1.5 marks per point. So for example, if I divide by 2 marks, so I have to give 3 points. So 3 to 4 points per slide. So again, the same rule, 2 marks per slide. But before that, you have to distribute the marks between the number of slides. Sir, reading business news online or newspaper will help SBL? Not now, Ishita. It's too late. There is no disadvantage of reading business news or newspapers, but I don't think it will directly help in SBL. Yes, Umair is asking, do I have to completely solve all the requirements of the paper? I have just done by making points. Umair, no. Making points is very easy. You see, if you do just making points, planning mentally, just making some points in your answer, and you're thinking that okay, I will draft along these lines. Making points is easy. The challenge is the actual drafting. That's a big challenge because of time management, because when you start explaining in your own words, you might get stuck. The presentation, the beautification, all those things will kick in. So please, pointers is not enough. You must do full 4 hour time-based practice. 3 points and 3 explanations. Yes, Rifana, that's good. Is it fine to just paste technical question then put subheadings? Yeah, it's okay. Yes, Patrick, 2 articles and then the top 25 list. Okay, top 25 list. Do not look at the previous articles, just the top 25 important topic. That's it. We have to explain the points in the slides. Absolutely, yes, Arnab, that's a very basic question. I think you have not seen any webinars. Please, catch up. Following something that is environmentally friendly, but it directly, okay, so this is Divansh asking that following something that is environmentally friendly, but it directly hampers the sole business purpose, should we then answer ethically or keeping the shareholders' interest as priority? It depends on the requirement. I think you should favor ethically the environmental thing, but it's not necessary that maybe the profits may reduce in short term, right? But in long run, it will definitely bring more revenues to the business. So please watch my yesterday's session. I had talked about this in detail. What are the advantages of companies who are spending money on environmental and social? So short term, it might be losses, but long run, it really adds image and value. We have to explain the points in Arnav, why are you asking the same question again and again? Yesterday, you were also doing the same thing. Can we attempt complete exam without applying any model? Absolutely yes, yes, and yes. Sir, repeating answer in more than one requirement, that's fine, Said. If you're repeating your not answer, if you're repeating some information from the exhibit in more than one question, that's fine, because the context is different, right? Your drafting might slightly change here and there, so it's perfectly fine to use one information in multiple places. If it makes logical sense, then it's okay. Divans, you will follow the evaluation skills. Okay. How can we validate our answers? Is there any answer document? How can you validate our answers? Yes. So there are two ways you can validate your answers, your draft answers. The first, of course, the first foremost way is that you can look at examiner's answer, but you will get a shock of your life if you read examiner's answers, because those answers are there for educational purposes. They are not answers under exam conditions. Those kind of answers are not possible under exam conditions. So they might mislead you or they might shatter your confidence. The other source is, I have my own, I've drafted my own answers, suggested answers from an exam condition point of view. Those are all available in my Google Drive. So you can access that. Each time financial questions are different, how can we handle it, Siri? Well, I mean, you will have to handle it, right? So you have to, the more you practice. So if you practice all the 8 questions, then you will know what kind of financial questions are there. What to do if I don't have any knowledge of the industry? Ahmed Umar, you don't require any knowledge of the industry. So we did a question on Railco. I have never worked in a rail industry. Have you worked in a rail industry? No. Before that, I did a question on yachts manufacturing, Yachts Marine. I have never worked. Nobody has worked. So please come out of this stupid mindset that we need industry knowledge. No, you need business knowledge. You need to understand customer, revenues, competitors, technology, alternatives, risk. These are business knowledge. It applies on all industry, even banks and everything. Okay. Dipti, yes, but unlikely. Mary Glynn is asking, due to time shortage, some questions are not attempted at all. Is there any chance to pass? I doubt. If you miss full entire question, I think you will score 48, maximum 49. Examiner hates when anybody skips an entire question. So it's good. It's better that you do all the questions incomplete, but attempt all of them. Very good, Tarun. Tarun, very good point. Tarun is saying, does it add value if we pick points from different exhibits and draft answer, even if we spot 1:1 exhibit? Absolutely, yes. Even if it is 1:1, it is our decision, right? We are saying it's 1:1 exhibit. But it might contain some point which you can use in some other exhibit or answer. So the examiner, he loves when one student, he, he combines points from 2 exhibits. You will get extra marks if you combine 2 exhibits to draft your answer. So if you can do that, it's amazing. Sir, in exam, we are supposed to attempt easy questions first and then move to difficult ones instead of following the sequence. Always attempt question number 1 first. Okay, that's my first thing. You should always, all of you must not start with easy first. You must always start with question number 1. That should be the first question. No compromise on that. And then later on, you can decide which one you want to go for, whichever you think is easy. But do not disturb the sequence of the answer sheet. Okay, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, but you can go forward and go backward on your own. Can you please share the link of the Google Drive? How? You need to join my global group, then I can share the link there. Reflecting the real crisis in the answers like COVID. No, Saad. Saad, good question. So Saad is asking that should we give real life examples like COVID or something? Not really. I read somewhere that the examiner doesn't like outside examples. Why? Because you have been given a specific case study. So all your answers and argument is to be from the given information. Okay. Usually one model is tested by the examiner in one exam. I have no idea. I don't think that's true. There is no pattern. Sir, the handout you shared yesterday had the format. The format of briefing note was similar, but in the past exam, yeah, it's fine. It's all right. Whichever format you decide, it's up to you. There is no hard and fast format, right? It's not a Bible. Yes, Patrick Lee, that's what I'm saying. So the important topic, do those topics, but don't read the articles for those topics. Just watch my videos. That's it. Aman, there's no other way. I mean, you have to practice more. That's it. That's all I can say. Um, yes, Fatima. Fatima is saying that should we start with question number one, even if it is a time trap? Absolutely, yes, Fatima. If it's a time trap, you leave it incomplete, but start with question number one. Do not take risk on question number one. Yes, Shazad. Blockchain, should we read? No. Tarun, maybe yes, I'm not sure. Yes, Marceline, you can attempt A and B in the same report. That's what I've been telling so many times. I do provide script checking. Yes, so Umar is asking, do you check mock scripts outside your students? Yes, I do, but my first preference is my paid students. And if I have left with some time, then I also check scripts from non students, but there's a nominal fees for that. Yes, Ahmed, absolutely. Yes, Amal, you're right. Even public sector organization, the way of answering is not different. Charitable organization or public organization or commercial organization, the concepts always remain the same. All of them have to be run properly commercially, otherwise they will go into losses, right? Yes, Laksh. Muhammad Yusuf, up to you. Yusuf is asking, sir, if the examiner answer will helpful if we read. Up to you guys. It might panic you because they talk about so many things in the answer. So Shazad is asking how much fees. Shazad, can you WhatsApp me? I don't want to discuss fees here. Okay, Sad. All right, guys. So let's try to wrap it up. Uh, I think you all of you asked good, intelligent, relevant questions. Half the questions are already answered by me in yesterday's webinar or previous webinars. So please, guys, now is the last 10 days and you have to give time to SBL. No one else can give time on your behalf. Okay. I am, I spent like it's like 11, almost like 11, 10 past 11 here in Dubai. Everybody is giving time, but in the last 10 days, only you can help yourself. No one else can work on your behalf. So if you're a working student or whatever, please allocate 4 or 5 hours in a day. Watch the webinars. Just stay focused. Do less, but do good. Understand the technique so that you can apply on any kind of case studies. And if you guys are not part of my WhatsApp group, then please join, because there a lot of discussions are happening. Students are helping students, and you will pick up some interesting things from there. All right, guys. So thank you once again for joining this webinar. And I hope you have saved my number. If you need any information, reach out to me. Don't forget to fill out the survey. So I think these ACCA guys, will are doing surveys. So please fill out the survey and give me good ratings. Okay. And if I find someone has given me bad rating, I will come to your home and shoot you. With that, guys, wish you all the best. Take care and good night.